Until now, I have warned against some of the greatest dangers our nation and humankind were facing, including its own annihilation because of impaired leadership. But now I would like to point out that out of the deepest darkness can emerge the seed of our salvation. Once we let go of our denial and the pursuit of false so-called gods who would aid that denial, and with them the endlessly greater exertions it takes to maintain illusions, we will discover that the solution has been within us all along. Once we embrace our true identity, we will arrive at the much larger truth that we are one. Our minds, far from being confined to our skin-encapsulated egos, are interconnected at levels that we can barely even fathom. And in fact, my latest book, The Psychology of Trump Contagion, is to try to illustrate that interconnectedness. But of course, apart from the negative interconnectedness we have, we also can demonstrate positive interconnectedness. So, with this recognition, the very reason for our war-torn world of famine, genocide, mass psychosis, and mass deaths suddenly disappear. The question is no longer, how did mental pathology and politics occur? But the realization that anything that affects any one of us affects us all. And in the full blossoming of this realization, we can use this underlying unity and interconnectedness for good. When psychiatric patients present with God complexes, they're pointing to a crucial human need. Of course, the most dangerous ones are not those hospitalized with the belief that they are God in a desperate attempt to escape the painful reality of their helplessness. It is rather those in society actually acting like they are God, taking on positions of power in an effort to deny and compensate for the fact that their psychological, moral, mental, and spiritual fitness is lacking. Nevertheless, if we searched within the deep recesses of our hearts and minds, we discover that our ultimate goal is the same: to be an integral part of something greater than ourselves. What we yearn for is not separation, but belonging, not domination and subjugation, but the infinite power of one. There is no such thing as loving oneself while hurting others, just as there is no elevating oneself while any one of us is denigrated. As French philosopher Simone Weil reflected, the danger is not that the soul should doubt whether there is any bread, but that by a lie, it should persuade itself that it is not hungry. This is what happened when at least half our nation replaced true nourishment for quick but false food. Psychiatry, or literally healing of the soul, comes from the Latinized Greek psyche, or soul, and iatria, or care and healing, can only go so far within the limits of the mind. Another French philosopher, Etienne Gilson, said, as soon as the universe is reduced to the laws of mind, man, now become creator, has no longer any means of rising above himself. He is henceforth the prisoner of his own work, whose capacity for the infinite will never be satisfied. Mental health is necessary for making all else possible, but it is only the beginning. Our ultimate longing lies in an ancient desire to return to our authentic self, self with a capital S, or our memory of God. As we recover our true identity, our expansiveness, and our freedom blazing into our minds is the bliss of knowing that false images are no longer necessary. Truth makes up for all and more. Just as the body knows what it needs, so does the soul. Eternal vigilance, therefore, is a simple choice between short-sightedness and eternity. And we must understand that laws that we set in motion are laws that we chose. When we let our minds be drawn into seeking a little profit here, a modicum of corruption there, or a bit of compromise for the sake of vain desires and shattered dreams, we are exchanging the infinite potential of our souls for despair, dread, and sorrow. The choice is therefore between growing ever hungrier until we are so consumed with envy that even envy of those who seem to have more than we, that even the destruction of all the world will not satisfy us, or ascending to the wider horizons of a radiant love that penetrates and fills us with life, life with a capital L, upon tasting of that bread that satisfies every hunger, that spiritual bread. It's a state that, far from quote unquote losing, looses the chains of our conditioning to awaken us to limitless consciousness, being, and beatitude. We learn that our role as the divine, inviolate, and indivisible is not to react to the world, but to create it. We are, in fact, co-creators of the world. All possibilities then open to us, since one reality, with capital O, capital R, encompasses all realities. This is the ever-present truth every human longs for, whether the psychotic, the megalomaniac, the psychological scholar, or the abandoned voluptuary in the heat of passion. When this thirst is quenched, there will be no more ready, misguided deification of demagogues. We therefore know that it is not a luxury, but an essential need. It is our rightful place in the world where we, once we arrive, feel most at home. This is a spiritual attainment, also psychological attainment, that all the major religions speak of, but it must be directly experienced to be believed. In fact, experience in the here and now and in the practical, which no spiritual teacher or tradition can replace. The bliss of dwelling in the divine, no matter what is happening in the world, does not only help us to transcend its current state of affairs, but for the very first time, it infuses us with the power to heal it.